Greetings, viewers! Night here to bring you some Foxy thoughts. So, Pokemon! This franchise has been a big part of my childhood, and I think Gen 6 and Gen 7 have been the best games from the series so far. Not only were they rather fun to play, had rather good stories, and switched from character sprites to 3D models, but also brought back some older Pokemon with a new coat of paint. I liked a good chunk of the Mega Evolutions and other forms, and I can't wait to see if Gen 8 will do something with older Pokemon too. I could talk about my favorite Pokemon from Kalos, and I may in future, but what I want to talk about in this video is Pokemon from the Alola region. What I'll be talking about in this video are Pokemon you can find in Alola, whether they're native to the region, appeared in previous games, or, of course, have adapted to this new environment. I'll be judging them basically on design, if they feel natural to a tropical island setting, and how much fun or useful they were while I was playing the game. So, let's begin. Starting off, we have quite possibly my favorite grass-type starter, Alolan Torterra. Wait a minute. Tort! Like I was saying, we're starting off with my favorite of the starter Pokemon for the region, the Rowlet line. Yay! Rowlet was quite popular when Gen 7 came out. There were memes all over the place. Admittedly, I wasn't too sure how I felt about it until I saw the full evolutionary line. And like with the Fennekin line, I loved what I saw so much that I made Rowlet my starter while I played Moon. Rowlet is completely adorable, looking like a little chibi barn owl. And I don't think we had to do a grass-type starter since Bulbasaur. To be honest, I'm not too terribly fond of Dartrix, but hey, at least it looks better than Quilladin. And now we come down to the best stage of this evolution, Decidueye! The fact that Decidueye is a grass ghost type Pokemon convinced me that the Rowlet line is based on barn owls, seeing as how flying barn owls used to be mistaken for ghosts during the Dark Ages. It's also based on the Stilt Owl, which is an extinct species, fitting for a ghost type. When I played the game, Decidueye was my most frequently used Pokemon. Its Razor Leaf, Ominous Wind, and Acrobatics were tons of fun to use during battle, but Spirit Shackle technique is also a great move for a ghostly archer. Speaking of birds, darn it, GameFreak! How dare you not have Chatot in the games? It's a freaking parrot! Why wasn't it put in a tropical setting? It's okay though, since Toucannon is an acceptable replacement. The minute I saw this big, perpetually pissed off bird, I said, I want one. And I got my wish when I caught a Pikipek, trained it up so it became a Trumbeak, and it eventually reached its final stage. I'm not exactly fond of Beak Blast, since it leaves Toucannon open to attack, but the other attacks it can learn like Rock Blast, Bullet Seed, and Flash Cannon are just awesome. So for the other starters, like Rowlet, Popplio is adorable, and I love the animation for Primaria's Z move, Oceanic Opera. Other than that, there's not a whole lot I can say. The Litten line, however, I do feel more of an attachment to. I think because Litten and Torracat look like tortoiseshell cats, and I used to have a Torty. I'm not gonna deny that Incineroar is kind of awkward, what with the odd proportions, and the way it executes its signature fire attack. But I do like Darkest Lariat and Fulminate Assault, despite the fact that I'm not even a wrestling fan anymore. Overall, while I may not like the other starters as much as the Rowlet line, they do have an appeal once you get used to them. Going back to birds, like with Toucannon, the minute I saw an Oricorio, I decided I wanted one. The concept of a single species having different variants based on where you find them sort of reminded me of Vivillon. However, when I managed to catch them all, the one I liked most was the Sensu style, mostly due to its cool purple feathers and my love for Japanese culture. While I can't say that it's a particularly strong battler, I do like its relation dance, and it was fun teaching it acrobatics and wind cutter. You know what beach activity I loved as a kid? Building sandcastles. And when I started playing Moon, I went to every beach I had access to, hoping I would encounter a wild palace sand. Unfortunately for me, the only way you can get a palace sand is by catching and evolving a Sandagast. I love that despite being a ground type, that Palisand's defense stat increases whenever it's hit by a water type move due to its ability Water Compaction. I also love how moves like Sand Tomb and Sandstorm just feel so natural for this type of Pokemon. Really, why wasn't this a thing sooner? The fact that it can learn moves like Giga Drain and Absorb, also keep in line with how this creature is able to absorb the life force from its prey. And I and defense just seems so fitting for a Pokemon based on a castle. Moving from a ghost ground type to the exact opposite, Bruxish is what I expected Gorbis to be, a water psychic type. While it's not as strong as it probably could be, I did like Bruxish's animations whenever it used a psychic attack like Psyshock, and I've always enjoyed using Aqua Jet to get the first hit in. Lastly, I kind of like Bruxish's shiny form more than the regular one. If you know me through Skype or Discord, you know that I enjoy pizza. So the claim that the color scheme of shiny Bruxish is the same as the Italian flag is just a plus in my book. Okay, first Pokemon in this video from a previous generation. I've always liked the Slowpoke line. There's just something about this pudgy pink Pokemon that I've always found charming. And I've always gone out of my way to catch a Slowpoke or a Slowbro whenever I encounter one in the game. Maybe it's because Slowpoke's first anime appearance was in the episode Island of the Giant Pokemon, but it feels completely natural that you would encounter Slowpoke in Alola. Let's get into Alola's creepy crawlies, shall we? Like Pick-a-Peck, Grubbin is a fairly common Pokemon in Alola. When this Pokemon evolves into Chargebug, it becomes quite electric type. Unlike other Pokemon that are meant to be their region's version of Caterpie, however, Chargebug doesn't reach its fully evolved stage unless it's leveled up in an electrically charged area, and then it becomes a Vikavolt, which, in my opinion, it does the whole Stag Beetle thing better than Pinsir. And the fact that it's a bug type that can fight off flying types with electric attacks is just pure awesomeness in my book. Two of the attacks I taught my Vikavolt were Acrobatics and Zap Cannon, mainly due to how cool it looked when it was using them. Another awesome bug type from Alola would be Golisopod. However, you need to seek out and catch Golisopod's weaker form, Wimpod. Wimpod are incredibly rare, appearing in only a few routes, and running away and hiding whenever you approach one. Even if you manage to cut off a Wimpod from escaping you, its Wimp Out ability will allow it to flee from battle when it gets too weakened. Once you successfully captured a Wimpod, you need to train it up until it reaches a level 30, and then it will become this monstrous beetle. Golisopod is a literal beast of a Pokemon, having decent attack and defense. It can learn a variety of moves like Iron Head, Aerial Ace, Scald, and Shadow Claw, though most people like to equip it with Bugium Z. While it's only a grass type that just looks like a bug, I had to mention Mirantis in this section, since it's one of my favorite totem Pokemon in the game. It sort of reminds me of Mian Xiao in that it looks unapologetically Japanese, in spite of the inspiration for the region it's located in. That was a clunky sentence, and I apologize. The fact that it can learn Pell Dance is just a bonus for that impression. While the regular Lurantis isn't exactly a heavy hitter, I do like its movements when it's attacking, and think that Leaf Blade is very appropriate for a Pokemon based on the Lurus Mantid. When I first saw Krabby and Kingler, I didn't think too much of them, but then Hoenn brought us Corphish and Crawdaunt, and I started to become more fond of crustacean Pokemon. I like the irony of how Clawitzer are so small but can learn tons of powerful attacks. And I was as equally pleased with the crab Pokemon of Alola. Rather than be water fighting, Crabrawler is a straight fighting type that can only be found under piles of berries. For a long time, I thought Crabrawler was a non-evolving Pokemon, until the one I was using leveled up around Mount Lanakita. And then it became Crabominable, the first ever ice fighting type. At first, I thought the design was dumb, but it's eventually grown on me. And now, the Pokemon that sought popularity and succeeded. Mimikyu. This adorably mysterious Pokemon captured everyone's hearts the minute it was revealed, despite its disturbing Pokedex entries. We've yet to see what Mimikyu actually looks like, and we hopefully never will if it's as terrifying as its Pokedex entries say. In spite of that, Mimikyu is a perfect balance of cute and creepy, with its Ghost Fairy typing and riot-looking Pikachu disguise. I think after I caught my own Mimikyu, I used it for the rest of the game, and while it wasn't invincible, it was a decent part of my team, especially when it used the Z-move Never-Ending Nightmare, which seemed to be made especially for this Pokemon. Until the species got its own Z-Crystal, that is. I like Aegislash. I like the color. I like the concept of a ghostly sword that carries its own shield. And for that reason alone, I also like Dome Eyes. It's an anchor wrapped in seaweed with a compass for an eye. That's delightfully creepy. When I got mine, I used as much as I could in post-game. While it isn't a steel type, it's a ghost grass type, it uses quite a lot of steel type attacks like Gyro Ball, Heavy Slam, Flash Cannon, and its signature move, Anchor Shot. Given the road I was exploring had Wild Gramble running all over it, Delmise proved to be a very powerful part of my team. Since I'm talking about ghost types, one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 5 that appears on Alola is Frillish. Yes, I know it only appears in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, but it still counts to be in this video. Hawaii just sounds like the type of place that have ghostly jellyfish flying around, doesn't it? Plus, I can see Frillish hanging out in sunken ships with Delmise. Seeing as how I said I bought Pokemon Moon Vision, you guys can guess which legendary I like. Like with owls, bats fascinate me, and I fell in love with Lunala's design. A spectral bat that's themed after the night sky. And I think Psychic Ghost is a good type, despite the 4 times weakness it has to dark types. Thank goodness I can learn fairy type moves like Moonblast, and can use the fairy type Z move, Twinkle Tackle. To anyone else who's already played Sun and Moon, I'm sure you can see why I have a fondness for this legendary. If there's one thing that makes me regret not getting Sun though, it's Turtonator. Just look at it. It's a fire dragon type based on the Mata turtle. Not only does it look cool, but it can learn attacks like Charge Beam, Flash Cannon, Flamethrower, and Dragon Pulse, all of which it fires from its cannon-like snout. I had no idea Turtonator was exclusive to Pokemon Sun version, and I had to do a lot of online trading to get one. Not saying that Dragonplay is bad, but it doesn't have the same appeal to me as Turtonator. And now we get to the part of the video I'm sure some of you clicked on it for. I'm going to talk about the Alolan forms. For those of you who don't know, Alolan forms are the regional variants of Pokemon that appeared in the first generations of games that evolved over time in order to adapt to their new surroundings, becoming completely different types than they are in other regions. First we have Alolan Geodude, which are made from magnetic rock and thus became rock electric type Pokemon. Geodude's magnetic body attracts iron sand, which resembles eyebrows and strands of hair. While a lot of its attacks are either rock or electric, Alolan Geodude can also learn moves like Thunder Punch and Gyro Ball. Really, the reason I prefer Alolan Geodude over its evolved forms is because it reminds me of Rocky Hammerhead from the anime Flint the Time Detective. Double the nostalgia, double the fun. Next we have quite possibly the most infamous of the Alolan forms, Alolan Executor. Memes everywhere. Apparently, due to the abundance of sunlight, the Executor and Alola were able to grow larger and taller, and are now grass dragon types other than psychic grass. The reason for this is likely because of the dragon fruit from South Asia. While Alolan Executor's long neck may be the subject of a lot of jokes now, there exists a picture of an Executor with a rather long neck on the Jungle Pack of the Pokemon card game. This was decades before Alolan forms were even an idea. And when you think about it, it isn't too surprising that a Pokemon based on coconut trees would have long necks. And a lot of people associate coconut trees and palm trees with tropical places like Hawaii. According to the Alolan people, this is the true form of the Executor, which calls into question which version of the species came first in universe. You can do the usual gimmick of evolving a wild Execute with a Leaf Stone, or catching a wild Executor on Executor Island, which you won't have access to until much later in the game. One of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 1 was Sandshrew, mainly because it looks like an armadillo and that's one of my favorite animals. Not sure when Sandshrew showed up in Alola, but when they did, the species moved in the direction of Mount Lanakila due to a lot of the island's volcanic activity, which is weird, you'd think ground types wouldn't be too bothered by heat. As a result, the species became Ice Steel, which ironically gives them 4 times weakness to fire. I think Mother Nature may have goofed on this. While regular Sandshrews simply have a pattern that resembles pyramids, Alolan Sandshrew have thicker plates on their backs and heads, which sort of resemble igloos. Alolan Sandshrew are also incapable of rolling up into balls like their mainland cousins, but can slide on their bellies to escape danger. Whereas mainland Sandshrew evolved naturally, Alolan Sandshrew need the help of the brand new item, the Ice Stone, to evolve to the next form. Upon evolution, the quills on Alolan Sandslash's back resemble icicles, and their large claws resemble ice picks. Considering the species can now naturally learn Iron Head and Metal Claw, either attack from Alolan Sandslash must really hurt. I'd wanted a fire ghost type since Gen 2, and Gen 5 granted my wish with the Litwick line. And when Gen 7 came out, we got the glorious Alolan Marowak. Nothing against the regular Marowak, it can also learn fire-type moves, but Alolan Marowak has so much culture behind it, being inspired by fire dancing and the Night Marchers from Hawaiian culture. Much like the Night Marchers from Hawaiian folklore, the Alolan people tend to fear Alolan Marowak due to their otherworldly abilities and how relentless they are when pursuing a foe. It's said that the ghostly fire on either end of Marowak's club is the spirit of its deceased mother. Knowing this, and given its ghostly typing, it's likely that this was inspired by the first generation Pokemon games, where you encounter a ghostly Mother Marowak at the top of Pokemon Tower. I love Alolan Marowak. I love its type combination, the moveset which contains fire, ghost, and ground type attacks, and if you were to ask me which of the Alolan forms is my favorite, it would be Alolan Marowak each and every time, hands down. And those are my thoughts regarding Pokemon from Gen 7. Do you like any of the Pokemon I talked about? Or have any Gen 7 Pokemon you like? Please share your thoughts with me.